getting worse.
You know, there are other ways you can start the show.
Yeah, Lewis. You say something encouraging. Maybe like a, did you know? Apple tip,
A
anything.
Zen thought.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I
Did you know
remember,
that the Apple ADB connector is the same as the what's it called? I should have been better prepared for this.
oh, shit.
S video. That's it.
I don't even have a flippin' tweet lined up. We are
Ah,
even more disorganized than usual. We're probably live.
that's okay. I'll just fill it up with more obscure Apple trivia. Did you know that the Macintosh Plus doubled the capacity of the floppy disk compared to the original Macintosh
Oh,
from
God.
400K to 800K?
I think I remember that. That's sad. Probably happened right when I was like getting my first computer. I do remember a point at which the floppies got more space. And what's the deal with the floppies?
800K and then 1.44 megabytes.
They called the floppies floppy, but then they had hard disks, and then those were called floppies. And then the other floppies were just still floppies. Everything was floppy at that point, but not all the disks were floppy. What's the deal with the flop?
Hang on.
All right. No, he's got one back there. We got Dave Lynch in the chat. Boom! That one's for you, Dave.
We got a properly floppy disk right here.
An actual floppy. Oh, yeah, man. I remember those. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Big sleeve that it goes
Oh,
in.
yeah, of course. Got to keep it clean. The dust sleeves. And now, we got
Yes.
this. Look at
Ooh.
this enormous, ridiculous iPad. 13-inch. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do it. I mean, I love this thing. I really do actually love using this thing. But I'm sorry about all the oh, the camera just turned on. That's weird.
Yeah, if only someone had warned you repeatedly that it's big.
Hey, look, I did my due diligence. Hey, you can see you guys. Look at that. I went to the Apple Store so many times, and I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And from just like a using an iPad in your lap experience and editing photos and stuff, and it's just awesome to have this much space. But it is shocking how much of a difference in size. And I said all this stuff last week. The 13-inch is over the 11-inch, and using this thing in bed, it's like my face being blasted with all the light from this thing. I barely fall asleep. I'm like an insomniac now. And like holding it in bed is just comically, absurd. It's like I could barely hold this thing up. I don't know, man. As much as I love having the extra screen real estate, what you lose in wieldability and portability, I just don't know if I can do it. I'm giving myself one more week. I might keep it. Because like when you are doing things with photos and stuff, the experience is incredible with all the real estate. But dude, I mean, just holding this thing, just look at this thing. Look how big it is. And it's so crazy how the form factor and the way the screen is mounted makes such a huge difference. Because like this on a 13-inch MacBook Pro, it feels too small for me. But you pull the screen off the keyboard and you got to just hold the screen. And now all of a sudden I'm like, this is way too big. I want an 11-inch.
The difference in the aspect ratios makes
That's
a
true.
big difference in like how big it actually is. Like it's much bigger by like square inches.
Yeah, you're right. Because like I think isn't the Air 16:9? I actually don't know.
All MacBooks I think are 16:9 now, or like a little bit slightly taller than 16:9.
But this is
because
3x4.
because of
It's like
yeah.
a lot wider. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it another. Tipsy dude from the chat. I've dropped my 13-inch iPad Pro on my face so many times. Yeah, I'm kind of worried that if I do that, I'm gonna wake up with a bloody nose. It's just amazing how these small changes, like 2 extra inches, 4 extra ounces, can drastically change the user experience. So much so that I'm like, I don't even know if I want to keep this thing. I might have to go back to the 11-inch. The 11-inch, I don't love it for productivity, but for portability and just using it in bed, it is just like absolutely perfect.
I think what you have to do is you need to go back to the Apple Store and pick up an 11-inch. And if
did.
it feels too small, I mean, after you're used to the 13.
I still have my 11 inch because I have
Oh,
my
that's right.
2018 iPad Pro.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
I don't know, but I just you can't. No one can describe to you how big this thing is and how much different it is until you use it, and then you're like,
Well,
wow.
I
It's
guess when you
completely
pick up
different.
your 2018 iPad Pro, does it feel small or does it feel like this is just right?
I haven't touched it since I got this, to be honest with you. So,
Mm.
How many drinks can you fit on that? It
oh, a whole
looks like
platter.
it'd hold about 6.
Your wine, sir. Oh yeah, for an experienced server,
Yeah.
do probably do. You probably could do 6. I mean, that'd be a tight squeeze, man. I think you'd be better off with 4, to be honest. But anyway, I digress. So we'll see if I keep it. But absolutely loving the 14-inch MacBook Pro. Absolutely loving it. And people are saying it overheats all the time. I haven't really stressed it yet, but my fans literally never come on for just regular usage. I love having like the 4 efficiency cores versus the 2 that I had on my M1 Max. And dude, that anti-reflective treatment on the screen. Oh my gosh, the nano texture. I mean, like it just melts. You don't even know that it's there until you see that there's like a diffuse light behind you or something. So far, I absolutely love it. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
Well, interestingly, I don't see any new videos from you. I'm checking my RSS read
Are
right
you
now. It says your
refresh?
last videos
You know what
February
else that we're not
2022.
seeing is any podcasts. This was supposed to be out yesterday.
That's true.
Oh, don't you worry. Don't you worry. I've got some videos piped in. They're in the pipe. But it's a long pipe, though. I can barely even see like the end. It's like a little tiny pin dot, with the light at the end. But anyway, should we go ahead and get this thing rolling? We actually have a lot of stories to do.
God, it's almost
I know.
5 o'clock on
Oh,
the
Mrs.
other coast.
D. It's D. Oh, my dear, did somebody say pipe? Oh, no. Mrs. D, we're going to stop you right there. Lewis, don't encourage her, Lewis. We got a lot of Apple stories to do, and we got not very much time to do them. And it's Friday, and this show is already 24 hours late, more so than 24 hours late. So we should probably go ahead and just, get the show over with.
Pushing
Create
26 now.
entertaining production for y'all to enjoy over the weekend. We'll see if anyone listens to it over the weekend. I don't know. Let me go ahead and get things queued up. And we'll get the show rolling. Dude, I think we got everything we need. I certainly hope so. But there's no going back now. In 3, 2, 1. Hello! And welcome to the CultCast, the best 30 plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Lash. Join me today. The crack of his knuckles is often the last sound writers remember before waking days later in the San Francisco hospital room. Thankfully, there's rarely permanent damage, but the forehead imprint of his pinky ring takes weeks to go away. He's the managing editor of CultCast. Lewis Walls is here.
No pinky ring. No pinky ring.
You took it off for the show. Let's see here. Some people use fans or white noise to sleep, but he says there's nothing like the relaxing sounds of an Apple Image Writer dot matrix printer. Calm the nerves and send them right to La La Land. Writer for CultCast, Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. I know this podcast is a day late, and I'm sure we'll address that maybe, but I would like to
short.
apologize that my Cult of Mac Apple Financial Earnings Call live streamathon was canceled yesterday. Sadly, the gymnasts that I hired came down with leprosy.
Wow.
And it just wouldn't be a Cult of Mac Apple Financial Earnings Call live streamathon without live gymnastics.
Or leprosy.
I'm told they were shipped off to a leper colony, I believe, on an island in Fiji.
Wow. You know they have antibiotics that treat that now. You should have let them know.
Well, a fun fact, and this is true, it's actually the same island that they shoot the Love Island TV show on. So on one half of the island, you have the Love Island, and then the other part is a leprosy island. So,
Is there actually a
watch out
leprosy
for that.
colony still?
I have no
I
idea.
was like, it seems like there shouldn't be, but hopefully if there is, the participants of Love Island will catch it.
Jeez.
All right. Well, look, sorry we're late. My fault. I had some stuff going on this week, and I was like, I just absolutely cannot record this on a Thursday. So here we are on a Friday afternoon with this week's best Apple stores. And you know what? Is that so bad? I kind of prefer to have the extra time just in case anything pops up, which today it actually did.
we have much better stories to talk about
Yeah,
today.
right. So I'm like, maybe we should move it to Friday. I just don't know if anyone will listen to it or watch live if we do it on Friday, but I guess we'll see. Let's see here. What are we talking about this week? I have no idea because my notes have completely disappeared. Oh, yeah. So we have got some bad news, maybe. Apple has, if you had any hope for the Steve Jobs Heritage Edition glasses, AR glasses, they're officially dead now. Looks like Apple has decided that AR glasses is just not a possibility.
Well, the story is not all that it seems, and we'll get to that.
Oh, great teasing.
Ooh.
Also, Lewis is going to mind melt us stats from Apple's bonkers earnings call. Only the interesting stuff, he's assured us. It must have been great because Apple stock is down again, which is what I feel like always happens.
It works, right?
What's that?
That's the way it works, right?
I know, because they announce Apple Intelligence, something that no one will actually ever use. Skyrockets.
Yeah.
Earnings call, bonkers earnings. Absolutely.
You only had the
Critters.
most profitable quarter in the history of the world of business, and no, that's not good enough.
Unbelievable. Let's see here. Oh, looks like Apple has a plan to finally, I know we've said this before, I think this actually might be it, to finally fix Siri and Apple Intelligence. We shouldn't even put those in the same sentence together, to be honest. But hopefully this is the real McCoy for Siri, because I've all but lost hope. Yes, CarPlay 2 is still coming out. Griffin's going to talk about that. Lewis is going to show us the most bananas iPhone case ever made. Leave it to Lewis to find the good stuff. All of that and plenty of tangents, probably lots of bad jokes, and at least one or two derailments on this week's episode. Before we dive in, allow me to pitch you the idea of a life that you could be living that you may not be living. Many of you out there, you're dirty. You probably stink. You have few friends. No hopes of dating. But your life could be so much better if you would just clean up your act. And I have just the thing for you, and especially for your products. First of all, step number 1, take a shower. That's going to fix the problem of getting your iPhone dirty with your hand oils and all the skin residue and stuff. And when you're ready to make your gadgets in your life as sparkling clean as you now are, I would propose that you go to CultCloth.co and purchase one of our just absolutely outstanding products. There's the CultCloth Duo. It's business on both sides. Short fibers on the front, long fibers on the back, and the perfect cleaning cloth for scrubbing your keyboard or keeping your iPhone sparkling clean. We also have our new and improved carry cloths, which also do an excellent job at keeping your glasses, lenses, cameras, electronics sparkling clean, but are very portable. And then we have the big one, the polish cloth, which is just the absolute finest polish cloth known to mankind. Perfect for wiping down your bigger items, your TVs, your iMacs, whatever you've got. Some people use them on their cars, which actually they work great on cleaning your dashboards and interior of your cars. But if you're ready to clean up your life and keep your gadgets, phone, iPad. I mean, did you look? Oh, I guess we did this before we officially started broadcasting. I have my new 13-inch iPad here. The screen is unbelievably marred with fingerprints. And I just can't stand it, man. It's so gross. But a few swipes with CultCloth, be sparkling clean like the day that I bought it. And you could have that same cleanliness with your gadgets. Just head to CultCloth.co. Does it clean a Vision Pro like an angel? Like an angel would. Absolutely sparkling clean. Griffin's nodding enthusiastically. Yeah, it would be perfect for Vision Pro. Absolutely. CultCloth.co. Use code CultCast at checkout. You'll get a free carry cloth with orders $20 plus. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of you have purchased them, which I truly appreciate. It supports myself, supports the show. CultCloth.co and use the code CultCast at checkout when you're making your purchase, $20 plus. All right, let's dive right in. This was it. This was the story we always knew would come. Apple has officially killed any hope of AR glasses, but the question is, why? Griffin's here to tell us all about it. Look how sad he is.
Well, may not be any hope. Let's see. Apple suddenly discontinued development of its lightweight AR glasses project this week, according to a new report. This marks another adjustment in the company's pursuit of mainstream wearable technology. The product The project, known internally as N107, aimed to create normal-looking glasses with built-in displays that would connect to Mac computers. Apple's decision to end the AR glasses project came after multiple design iterations and technical challenges, according to Bloomberg sources familiar with the matter, as reported on by Shark Berman. Unlike the Vision Pro, these glasses would have been lightweight enough to wear without a head strap and wouldn't have included the EyeSight display on the outside. Initially conceived to pair with iPhones, the team encountered issues with processing power and battery life limitations. A pivot to Mac connectivity aimed to leverage more powerful processors and larger batteries, but the prototype's performance fell short during executive reviews. However, Apple continues to develop Vision Pro successors and maintains other innovative concepts, including AirPods with cameras. The company, here's the key point, the company hasn't abandoned its long-term ambitions to create standalone AR glasses, continuing work on fundamental technologies like micro LED displays. So at first it sounds like Apple's killing AR glasses. They're never going to do them. But when you read into it, it sounds like this product would have been analogous to like the X-Real Air glasses.
Yeah.
You know, when the Vision Pro came out and everybody fell in love with Mac Virtual Display, everybody was saying, man, Apple should just make a product that's like tiny glasses and all it does is Mac Virtual Display. Well, it kind of sounds like that's what this product was, and Apple tried it and they realized it didn't work or meet their expectations for whatever reason or another, and they killed that. But it does sound like, you know, obviously they're not giving up on Vision Pro. They're still going to make those. They still have those products in the pipeline. The Holy Grail product is still a Vision Pro class device that can fit into glasses, but, you know, we're not ready for that yet. And they decided that, well, just do Mac Virtual Display as a product didn't work either.
So it's not goodbye. It's just goodbye for now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're gonna give up on this, like you said, but reading all the context from Shark, I mean, the technology's not there. They weren't able to fit battery into the actual glasses. I mean, anything that if I asked you if this technology were possible, you'd probably rattle off in a list, not even having been involved in the development team. All the things that you're like, I don't know how they would get that to work. Those seem to be all the things that killed the project.
Yeah,
and
like other people have been saying, like, well, why don't you just, why can't you, you know, make a lighter weight version of this product that like plugs into my iPhone and just uses processing power of my iPhone and my iPhone's battery? Well, I mean, just look at the battery pack of the Vision Pro compared to your iPhone.
Yeah.
It's like 3 times bigger than your
It's
entire
huge.
phone.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like 2 hours worth of that, and then both of your Vision Pro and your phone is dead. That's worse
and probably
in
pretty
every way.
fast. Yeah, and once we saw the Vision Pro, I mean, I think we talked about this maybe last episode or the one before. Once you see the Vision Pro, you're like, oh, there's no way they're making glasses. Like, this is as compact and portable as they can make it, so much so that they had to put a battery pack on your hip or in your pocket. Like, how are they going to go from that to glasses that do anything close to what Vision Pro does? Like, we're looking at probably, I would guess at least 10 to 15 years before anything like that is even close to being possible. So for now, they're going to just probably make Vision Pro better and better.
I always come back to like the Bill Gates quote that's like, people overestimate what can happen in 5 years and underestimate what can happen in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like 5 years after the original iPhone, we had the iPhone 4S, which was a nice phone, but it was still kind of limited. 10 years after the original iPhone, we had the iPhone 10, which is, you know, the modern smartphone that we still pretty much carry to this day. Like, so I wouldn't, I think maybe 10 years we would have a much more compelling version of Vision Pro, but like, I mean, you look at it and it's like an inch thick, and like all of the computer part of the Vision Pro is like between your eyes and the real world. So like, in order to turn the Vision Pro into glasses with a see-through display, they're going to have to move all of that computer stuff somewhere else. And it's not like there's that much room like between your eyes and your ears. So,
or shrink it all down so much. But I don't know, man. Like a big part of this problem is the amount of battery power that's needed. Are they going to make, I think they said like in order to make the glasses work, it would need to draw 1/10 of the power that like an iPhone currently draws. I forget exactly what like the measure was, but it was a drastic reduction in power usage to make something like this work. And I'm like, are we going to get to that point in 10 years? Like battery technology moves at a glacial pace. Like there's not been any big improvements to battery anything in I don't even know how many years, 20 years. I mean, they can make their components more and more and more efficient, but are they going to make it that much more efficient in 10 years? Like, I just don't see it. Like, I think the best that we could hope for in 10 years is a vastly improved Vision Pro that's lighter and smaller, and the battery pack, maybe they could shrink it for that reason, but an improvement in the battery pack, I just don't think it's going to happen. So I just don't see us with a vastly different version of Vision Pro in 10 years. It will be better. And then like glasses, I don't think there's any hope. So if you were hoping to get your Steve Jobs Heritage Edition, glasses, a serious scoop that we had on this show many moons ago. I don't know if that's happening, but then it makes me think, well, shoot, maybe they were considering making like a Steve Jobs Heritage Edition set of glasses, or like those were like the test units that they had going around, like as kind of like as a goof, right? It's like, oh, or they're like testing it with like these glasses that look like Steve Jobs glasses. I don't know, man. I don't know. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, we had John Prosser on forever ago, and he like revealed that Apple was working on these glasses, Steve Jobs Heritage Edition glasses, which is an awesome story. I just wonder if it was ever true. And I'm not saying that he was lying, but I think like, well, why would you end up with a story like that? Like either someone trolled you, or Apple was just testing them and it was never something that was ever meant to see the light of day. I don't know.
I mean, if they're making glasses, you're going to, it's the Johnny Ive design philosophy. They're going to try every different shape of glasses. And I'm sure they tried circular glasses. It wouldn't look remotely like Steve Jobs glasses in the end once you put a computer in there, but you can try. And I'm sure they did.
Shoot. Well, we've been talking about this way longer than I thought we were going to. So maybe we should move on to something a little bit more mind-melting. Am I right, Lewis?
Oh,
Lewis the Mind Melter.
Melted minds are very popular these days. Yeah, so don't know if you ever had the excitement of an Apple earnings call.
I'll leave those to you, Lewis.
Usually, I swear to God, we're sitting there like, with drool coming out of our sides of our mouth, falling asleep, and trying desperately to come up with anything to say. And this one yesterday, it was just like, factoid after factoid, metric after metric that was just mind-blowing. And we were just, wow, what the? So we just decided to round up some of the impressive numbers. So start with Apple hit a new all-time high of 2.35 billion active devices. 2.35 billion. That's like one for every 3.4 people on the planet. It just seems shocking. This next bit, I find this suspect. Tim Cook says Apple Intelligence is driving iPhone sales in regions where it's available. In the markets where we had launched Apple Intelligence, they outperformed the markets that we did not, Tim Cook said.
I thought about this more, and I think I figured out the pattern here. If you look at China, the iPhone is underperforming in China this year. And it just so happens that Apple Intelligence isn't available in China. So I think it's just a matter of correlation where Apple's doing worse in China and they're, still selling iPhones in the United States. And that's all it takes to like build like some sort of correlation there. Like,
yeah,
Apple Intelligence is only in the US and officially in US English. Yeah.
It was one of those weird things where like, really? Okay, anyway. I should have held that one for later. So the gross margins that Apple reported, 46% for the quarter.
Dang, 46% gross margins.
Yeah, and as Leander pointed out, we kind of crowdsourced this little post about this. Leander wrote, businesses generally aim for 10 to 15% gross margins, whereas like restaurants struggle to make 5%. Apple's was 46%, and the services division, which is iCloud and Apple Pay and Apple TV Plus, 75% gross margins. 75%.
That just shows you why they're pushing it so hard, man.
Yeah, you think back to whenever Tim Cook said that he was going to prioritize services. Well, I guess part of that is you can just charge whatever you want for services, and like people say, well, iCloud cost me $6 instead of $4 or whatever, it's like 75% profit.
And they did away with the iTunes gift cards that you could use for discounts on Apple services. Gonna just throw that out there. Actually, can I just add real fast? It's kind of genius if you think about it. In the absence of Apple's next big product, which everyone has been waiting for, they kind of made services the next iPhone. You know, it's like, I don't know what the total revenue is for services versus iPhone. I'm sure it's a lot lower. But just think of all that gravy that they're making that they would not have been making. And instead of selling you an iPhone that you absolutely have to have, like, let's just make it incrementally better, and let's just monetize the heck out of everyone who is already in our ecosystem with these services.
Yeah. And let's raise the price of Apple One bundle, from $34 to $37 or whatever it was. I don't think that was during this quarter, but okay, well, that's a huge percentage increase. And how many people said, no, I'm stopping it? No, you just said, oh well, there's $3 more that Tim Cook has that I don't
Once
have.
you've sold an iPhone to literally everybody who wants one, then that's the only next move you can do.
Unless you decide to make a really great iPhone that makes them all want to upgrade again. But yeah, the ultimate slap across the face is just iCloud photo storage, like how expensive it is.
I knew we were going to get to that.
It's just mind-blowing to me that I'm giving Apple $20 a month to just store my photos so that they sync across devices. It's just an outrage, man. And in the next year, I might be going to $30 because there's no end. There's no end to it.
Well,
I mean, you just keep taking more 4K video, more photos, and if like, oh, you want to have those available on all your devices, pay up, sucker. You got to do it.
Let's put in a bigger sensor and enable larger file sizes.
Next iPhone's going to be like 140 megapixels. It's like you'll be able to take like 8K
pays off
videos.
in the long run.
And of course, I wouldn't be me if I didn't mention, what are you doing with those 4K videos? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You can't watch them on your iPhone. You can't watch them on your iPad. Your 4K Apple TV? No, can't watch them. Can't watch them on your Mac. Can't watch them on anything. You are literally just putting those videos into iCloud so that you could take up more storage and then pay Apple to store them. And what are you doing with them? Nothing. The only way you can watch a 4K video on your Apple TV is to download it on your Mac, maybe your iPhone, and then AirPlay it to your Apple TV on your 4K television. That's the only way to watch that 4K video that you took on your iPhone. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling. And no one ever mentions it but me, I feel like. And I try not to mention it because people just get annoyed, I think. But
because you take 4K videos so that you have high-resolution memories for the rest of your life, not because you can't play them on your Apple TV. Like, playing it on the Apple TV is like the most niche use case ever.
What are you talking about, dude? You're taking a 4K video to preserve a memory. You can't watch the memory in 4K. There's no way
Yes,
to
you
watch
can.
it.
I watch them on my Mac all the time.
Not in 4K, you don't?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a 4K?
Because my Mac downloads my entire library in full resolution.
Do you have a 4K monitor?
Yes, I do. I have a 5K monitor.
Okay, so that is one of the few use cases where it actually does work. But that is such a sliver of the user base that has a 5K monitor that has enough storage on their Mac to download the whole thing, right? So in that instance,
it's not a waste of money like you objected as. Like, and I'm going to have all of these 4K videos in the future when, eventually.
It's not a waste for you.
Now,
it's not a waste for
Apple TVs will be able to play them in 4K.
Well, I hope so.
Why they don't.
I hope so. But I mean that's where they need to head. But the point is like you just affirmed my point. Most people can't do what you do, which is why it's a waste. It's like most people are just squirreling away these 4K videos and they can't watch them because they don't even know how. First of all, most people don't even know that the Apple TV 4K doesn't even play your library of photos and videos in 4K. It doesn't do that. Maybe the photos.
Have you actually tested that recently? Like, is that still true of the latest Apple TV?
Yes, it is. I mean, as far as I'm aware, maybe someone in the chat can confirm this.
As far as I'm aware.
I mean, it's been maybe a few months, maybe 4 or 5 months since I looked this up. But yeah, and if you share a video in a shared not a shared library, in a shared album, 720p. Apple puts those videos to 720p. That's just crazy. And the reason they probably do this is because they want to save money on bandwidth. That's got to be why. Because every platform known to man streams in 4K. It's not like it's not technically possible. It's just Apple doesn't want to do it because They want that sweet gravy, man. TC wants the gravy. He doesn't want you to have the gravy. TC wants the gravy. It's his favorite thing to
I'm
put
sorry,
on his
Lewis.
turkey.
We derailed your story here.
I don't think so. I think we just improved it. What else you got, Liz?
You were asking about iPhone sales. Well, guess what? They were down to $69.1 billion.
Oh no, we're in trouble.
How could
Someone
how
get
could it?
Johnny
What an
Hot back.
unsuccessful business.
It's a hobby.
Wall Street always looks at iPhone sales as like it's like their main metric. I think that everybody cares. One thing that's different yesterday was that there's a new CFO, Kevin Perek. He brushed off the 0.8% drop, calling iPhone sales, quote, roughly flat. He did a good job, kind of sound like an AI as he talked, very smooth. Still, after all this, despite being down just a little bit, which of course people, Wall Street doesn't like, Apple still set an all-time record for iPhone upgraders and the active iPhone install base. Let's see, everything else is up too. Mac sales jumped 16% to just under 9 billion.
Dang.
9 billion. Tim Cook said that the M4 MacBook Pros are, quote, so compelling that it's driving both upgrades at the double-digit level and it's driving switchers at a double-digit level. There's a lot of talk of upgraders and switchers yesterday.
I mean, you think about it, and like there was a giant wave of Mac sales around 2020, for COVID and all that. A lot of people working from home buying laptops, and the M4 is a great time to upgrade from an Intel Mac. So I bet it's a lot of Intel Mac switchers upgrading to M4 for their first time, if I had to take a guess.
And if you went from an Intel to an M4, whew.
Oh, dude. I was talking to a guy this week. He's got a 2011 MacBook. And I was like, you're using a 2011? He's like, it still works. I'm like, dude, your mind's going to be scrambled. When you move to like an M4, anything, you are going to be absolutely blown away. You're probably going to have to take a day off to recover. I mean, the increase, just the increase in speed going from the M1 to the M4, I was like, this is actually noticeable. And I use iStat menus too. And I get great satisfaction from seeing that I have 4 efficiency cores now instead of just 2. Love it. Performance cores don't even do anything for me yet. They haven't even needed to turn on yet.
Let's see. iPad sales also up $8.1 billion last quarter. Here's the most shocking part of that. It's not because of the M4 iPad Pro with the OLED screen. Tim Cook said, quote, iPad overall grew 15% for the quarter, and it was more driven by iPad Air and the entry-level iPad than it was the top-level iPad.
That's not surprising.
I was surprised by that.
They're
Especially the iPad
hiring
Air.
gadgets are just so expensive now. It's just crazy.
Let's see, just a couple more points here. iPad and Apple Watch, more than 50% of sales were to new customers, not upgraders. So you keep bringing new people in. And then finally, you're talking about services, how much services makes. Yeah, it's a fraction of what iPhones make, but it was up 14% year over year for a new record high. New record high, all-time high, over and over yesterday. In the past year, Apple has seen nearly $100 billion in revenue from services.
And that's just like pure
100
gravy, man.
billion. Yeah, that's the 75% profit margin part.
Yeah.
So pretty shocking. Final thing, Perek said there are well over 1 billion paid subscriptions. 1 billion paid subscriptions.
Wow. I bet a lot of those are just iCloud photo storage.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the gateway drug.
Could be, literally nothing, but that's just a lot of people writing a check, being debited or every single month.
And I bet the biggest expense there has got to be production of Apple TV Plus shows. I mean, what else costs a lot of money to run the services aside from
Right.
the infrastructure that they have to run anyway?
Yeah, building solar to run the server farms. And I don't even think I mentioned this. Once again, Apple set an all-time revenue record. The most revenue they've ever brought in. And then,
Wow.
of course, what happens? Stock falls. But
Their stock falls.
One last note that I want to point out is that the wearables category is really interesting to me because if you think through it, what's in the wearables category? The AirPods Pro 2 that are now 3 years old, the AirPods 4, which are a good product and are probably carrying the whole thing, Apple Watches, which in the United States have fewer features than the old ones because they're still missing the blood oxygen sensor, and the Vision Pro. Really,
Don't
really
forget the
great
AirPods Max.
set of products there.
Got a
Oh yeah,
got a
yeah. And the
USB-C,
AirPods
man.
Max,
That had to just
that,
really
that are the same as they have
pedal
been
to
for
the
last
metal.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, although I would say AirPods Pro got significantly better this year thanks to that firmware update.
Dude,
And
AirPods 3 got better too. Remember, like, when I first got them, I was like, I'm just not super impressed with the active noise cancellation on these. And I would use them in the car, and it felt like there were, like, these weird audio artifacts. Do you remember talking about this? Okay.
AirPods,
So-
isn't that AirPods 4?
AirPods 4, thank you, with ANC. And, I mean, they don't fit in my ears as good, which I don't love. Like, I had one fall out of my ear for the first time ever, which is kind of a bummer. But,
Right
like,
down a sewer grate.
thankfully, I was able to catch it, but that has never happened to me before, and the shape is definitely different than my AirPods 2. But I took the AirPods 4 on my trip to Washington, D.C. You know what else I brought? My AirPods Max.
Oh.
Just in case, because I'm like, I get flight anxiety. I'm like, I don't want to have the airplane noise. And I was like, but you know what? I'm going to just bring these because they're so much more convenient and try them out. And I didn't take the AirPods Max out of my bag. They just stayed in my backpack the whole time. I used the AirPods for the entire flight. And they worked, I mean, not as well as the AirPods Max do, obviously, but they worked dang good. I mean, I would take them in and out, and like the amount of white noise reduction, I would say was probably 85 to 90%. It just all of a sudden melted away all that airplane noise. And all those weird artifacts that I used to hear when I first got them, they are gone. I don't hear them in the car anymore. I don't hear them on the airplane. I don't hear them when I'm wearing them around. I think they improved them in some way. And they're so good that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sell my AirPods Max. I just don't even need them anymore. They sit in a drawer, and I don't really listen to enough music that I want to break these things out and wear them all the time. And I'm gonna just use the AirPods 4 now for my flights and everything. So they're dang good, man. Like the active noise cancellation on those is actually pretty good now.
I've
Well,
never
the good
tried
news
them.
is that the AirPods Max probably haven't depreciated at all because the new ones are pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how much my AirPods Max are worth. Like, I'm gonna guess like maybe $300. I mean, they're great headphones. I just don't need them. I never use them anymore. And in fact, after I reviewed them, I was like, I don't know how often I'm actually gonna use these. They literally just sit in a drawer. They could fund my M4 Max MacBook Pro purchase, which definitely stung somewhat. Yeah.
Earbuds and earphones are in the like one product category that I'm not particularly excited about buying used. It's kind of like shoes. I don't like buying used shoes.
Or underwear.
Definitely not underwear.
I wouldn't either, but dude, there is a market for secondhand AirPods on eBay. People buy them, man.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Wouldn't want to be what I do, but you know
Sounds
what?
weird.
I mean, if you get they are usually cleaned, but can you perfectly clean a pair of AirPods when they've been in your ears? No.
Just every time you put it in, at least for the first week, you'd be going, I wonder where's this been?
Everyone's got different levels of hygienic comfortness, if that's a word.
Comfortness?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll allow it. Uh-oh. Loses eyes twitching. He didn't like that one. He's like, oh, kid, that's not a real word. His hand's slowly going towards his crop. The AirPods 4 continue to be one of the best devices that Apple released last year, man. I mean, that case, I'm not going to go on about it again, but I have lost them so many times and had to ping the case, and that sound is so loud that you can definitely hear it and go find it. It's just been so useful, and it's so much more compact than it was before. I mean, dude, and then you get the ANC, which actually works and works well enough to use it on an airplane for like a 6-hour flight. Actually, it was longer than 6-hour flight because on my trip home from Washington D.C. I love this. We have a layover, okay, and we were flying to Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know where Charlotte, North Carolina is. Do you? If I showed you a map, could you point to it? So
General area.
Oh, Griffin's nodding. I'm dubious. But I look at it when we're like an hour away from leaving on a map, and I was like, wait a second. They're flying us an hour and a half in the wrong direction. We're barely going west at all, and we're going south. So we have to detour almost an hour plus in the wrong direction, which just adds more time to the flight, which is the exact opposite of what you would want, especially having flight anxiety. So now I'm like all nervous because instead of having to fly, 5 hours home, which is probably what it would have been if we had gone the correct direction, now we're going to fly 6.5 or whatever it ended up being. And there's headwinds. But at least I had my AirPods 4 to quiet the baby crying, 4 rows behind me.
Direct flights are fun. Direct flights.
You know what? That's what my wife said. I'm all for direct flights, okay? But let me ask you this question. You have a direct flight or you have a flight with one layover. How much extra are you willing to spend to have the direct flight? What's that worth to you? Now, keep in mind, this is a nuanced question because I think the price you're willing to pay also depends on how long the flight is, right? Or how much extra time you're going to be spending in the air. What's the answer, Lewis? Don't get it wrong.
$120.
120? Okay. 120? You got a layover in your future. What about you,
200?
Griffin? Oh, the Jose with the money bags. He says 250, man. 250.
You can find direct flights usually. Most places.
You can. It depends on when you're booking your ticket and where you're going and stuff. But like for me, our tickets were already $450 per person, which is not bad to go from Washington to Washington. But the direct flights were like $1,200, $1,300.
Really?
Oh, I'm
You're
sorry.
kidding me.
That was total. Like the direct flights were probably like $600-$700, and I was like, yeah, I'm like to save a couple hours,
I mean, if you stop at an airport, aren't you going to, well, I know for sure that I'm going to spend at least $30 just getting a beer.
I hadn't
and a
thought about
sandwich or
that.
something.
Yeah.
Layovers don't really bother me. I mean,
God, I hate them.
I also work for Leander Kayane, so I have more time than I have money. So I'm kind of forced into accepting a layover if it's a cheaper flight. But I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal.
They're pain. They're expensive, and there's that increasingly probability that your second flight's going to get delayed, or your first one going to get delayed. You're going to miss the connector. I mean, there's nothing worse than missing the thing. I've had that happen on international flights, and it just throws your life into chaos.
That actually happened to us on the way there.
You're sitting there on the tarmac. You're going, I was supposed to get there 45 minutes before my connecting flight, and we're now 40 minutes late.
Yeah.
And you're just going, what am I going to do? Yeah, and you're praying that they hold that second flight because there's enough people on your flight. And you get that. One time I ran like I don't know, it seemed like a mile trying to get to a connecting flight.
Just like sweating.
In Phoenix, in my Apple Watch is, I'm getting the fast heartbeat alert, like, hey, watch out, your heart might be about to explode. and I show up at that desk and I'm sweating and I'm like, oh no, we just shut the door. I'm like, open the damn door. They wouldn't do it. And then, I watched as the people behind me, slowly, because I was the first one there. I ran as fast as I could. And, what ended up happening? I ended up having like three different connections on instead of just going directly where I was supposed to go, had to go 2 other places. And, in Europe, it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
On the way there, we were supposed to land in Chicago, which, dude, is like straight line from Washington to Washington, D.C. Chicago is like right in the middle. And when we're at the airport, I was noticing that my boarding pass had changed. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I go to look at the email, And the Chicago flight had been delayed by 3 hours, which means we would have missed our connecting flight with Washington, D.C. So instead, they auto-magically updated us to fly into Dallas, which, again, wrong direction. And instead of getting into Washington, D.C. at, I think we were scheduled to get there at like 11:45 p.m., we got there at like 1:30 or 2 a.m., you know. Now it's Eastern time, so for us it's like, you know, not that late anyway, but we were literally traveling the entire day to get there and then the entire day back. We had a layover in Charlotte for 3 hours. We had to wait there for 3 hours. And I was like, we were sitting there at the airport. It was just me and my wife, and I was like, I got to watch like a whole Lord of the Rings movie before we even get on to the 6-hour flight. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do for the next 9 hours of the day?
It's terrible.
Like, I did download like almost the entire first 2 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So I did have that with me. But I'm like, how many
Why would you
episodes?
do those seasons?
What?
Why would you do those seasons? Those are the worst
I
seasons
like
of
to
the
watch.
show.
Dude, one of my favorite episodes ever, I think, is season 1. I think it's season 1. I don't know. I like to go in chronological order, and you're right. I never actually make it past season 2 because I'll watch season 1 and 2, and then I'll wait for so long that I feel like I need to start over again. Anyway, so yeah, do lounge access. Wesley from the chat, lounge access. Dude, that's the dream right there. Kick back, eat some honeydew melon, have some coffee, you know. But I don't have lounge access, man. I don't fly often enough to warrant that.
Can we please move on? I'm sorry.
This is the best part of the show. All right, let's see here. Where are we? Okay, I'll do a drive-by on this one, so everyone get ready to jump and hide. Are you ready? Did I redo this one?
No.
Oh my God.
No, we've been stuck on that story.
I don't know. What are you about
I feel
to do?
like we did it. All right, drive-by. Here it comes. Apple is pulling out the big guns to fix Siri and Apple Intelligence. No way. No way, you say? Well, let me see here. There we go. So it may finally happen. We get the Siri fix that we have all been working for. Why do we think that might be a possibility? Well, Apple just appointed seasoned Apple executive Kim Vorath to spearhead improvements to its artificial intelligence capabilities and Siri. According to a new report, Vorath, a 37-year Apple veteran, she's been there for 37 years, played crucial roles in launching both Vision Pro and the original iPhone. Now she's been named Vice President of Program Management at Apple's AI and Machine Learning division, according to Bloomberg. Known for her ability to troubleshoot problematic products and successfully bring major projects to market, Vorath's move represents Apple's commitment to closing the AI capability gap with competitors. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, nothing else really interesting in there. So this might be the person that we need to drop the hammer to whip these developers into shape. I mean, it is astounding to me that Siri has been as bad for as long as it's been bad. And it's the missing piece. You know, like they've got all the Apple Intelligence stuff. You can't use AI to fix Siri. There's got to be a way. So, hopefully in the next year.
Just keeps getting worse.
It
I
just
swear to
keeps
God,
getting
just
worse.
the other day, I yelled at my
We're getting
HomePod, you know, play some specific song. What does it do? It plays something like completely not. It's like, it's right there. You have all the data. You have every song name available. Why can you not play the song name that I just said in clear English with enunciating even? Can't be done sometimes.
My favorite example is like when I was talking about that thing and I was like, you know, so-and-so has to go to the blah, 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 and it changed has to capital H-A-S-S, Haas.
All right.
I'm
Because
like,
everything's about avocados.
the Haas avocados, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How bad could this possibly be? Like that it doesn't understand the context and all of a sudden it switches has for Haas. I mean, dude.
I find it's actually embarrassing, you know, like we had friends over the other night and I said to the HomePod, play something. And it's just like laughable, you know, everybody's like, that's, you know, we all just cracked up. It's like how it actually sometimes torques me off so much. I'm just like, I feel like throwing them out the window.
If you
Just
have
'cause
an
it's
artist
just-
in your music library with numbers in the band name or anything
Oh,
whatsoever,
God.
you can just give up right there. It's never going to get it right.
It's amazing. It's amazing how bad that particular thing is, because that is not really complicated from a
Doesn't seem like it
from
would
a
be.
data perspective.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But you know what? There is hope for, Lewis. CarPlay.
Yeah.
CarPlay
Okay.
too. I'm a huge CarPlay aficionado now. I don't know if you know that about me.
Glad you got on the train.
Oh, dude. Love it. Absolutely love CarPlay. Once you got it, there's no going back, right? Right, Griffin? Am I right?
Yes. So, you know what even be better than CarPlay? CarPlay 2.
Oh, like the
Apple
next
says
iteration.
Apple says the next generation CarPlay refresh will provide, quote, the ultimate iPhone experience for the car. While Apple CarPlay currently only controls your CarPlay currently only controls your car's infotainment system, its next iteration will provide content for all the driver's screens, including the instrument cluster. And Apple showed this off at this next generation CarPlay at WWDC 2022, 2.5 years ago, and it still hasn't shown up. Apple previously mentioned that the first vehicles with CarPlay 2 would be announced by the end of 2024, but I don't know if you
Oops.
haven't noticed, but that has not happened yet.
Yeah.
But Apple says they haven't given up on the next big CarPlay update. In a statement to Mac Rumors, they've said, quote, we continue to work closely with several automakers, enabling them to showcase their unique brand and visual design philosophies in the next generation of CarPlay. Each car brand will share more details as they near the announcements of their models that will support the next generation of CarPlay. So delayed, but it's still coming. Don't worry about it.
I hope that they don't end up giving up on CarPlay, because I can imagine that the car manufacturers are resistant to it. But it's just such an absolutely terrific product. And I don't really know what Apple benefits from it. I wonder if they're trying to charge like a licensing fee to all the car companies, which, dude, pay Apple the fee. Like, to not have to design the system on your own and just give it to Apple and have them make something that people actually love using and integrates with the devices they already own is such a great user experience. No joke, I would seriously have to think about buying a car that didn't support CarPlay in some way, shape, or form. Like, when I was thinking about buying not a used Honda, a brand new Honda, I wasn't even sure I wanted a car that didn't support wireless CarPlay, which of course only their better models do. Which is funny because like that CarPlay computer, CarPod Go, which I've talked about here on the show, they sent me one to review. I was like, it supports wireless CarPlay and it's great. It's like such a good aftermarket product, rock solid, reliable. I've had so few problems with it. I'm actually shocked how good it is. And how come it can support wireless CarPlay, but in order to buy a Honda Civic, you got to get like the ultimate tier model, which is like $8,000 more just to get the wireless CarPlay. Of course, we all know why. They want the gravy. They want the
if
gravy.
you're talking about like why Apple does it, I think it's one of those things that doesn't directly make them money, but it does contribute to the feeling of, oh, well, I really like my iPhone because I have CarPlay. I could get an Android phone, but I mean, I already know how to use CarPlay, and that's one of my favorite features. I don't know if I would like that as much. I'll just stick with an iPhone again. Like,
Yeah.
Same thing with like why Apple made a web browser. Like,
a good
they
point.
don't make money on Safari, but it's like, oh, well, you know, I really like using Safari, and, you know, I should buy a Mac because I like Safari, or, you know, oh, Apple made a web browser. I should switch to Dell and try that out again.
You mean it's like the $5 Costco chickens, man? Just keeps you in the membership.
Well, I mean, that is a product that they do make money on. So
The $5 chicken?
I mean, you're talking about a product that they literally sell, whereas my point is like, well, they don't
Oh.
actually make money on CarPlay.
Yeah, I'm saying that Costco doesn't make money on those chickens. Like, there's no way that you could sell a fully cooked chicken for $5 and make money on that. Like, a chicken, just a uncooked chicken at Costco is like, you know, $16. How are they making money on the $5 one when it's cooked? Same chicken, but it's cooked. Makes no sense, man. They gotta be, but they hope that it'll get you in the door and to buy other stuff, or so I've heard. All right, this is one of my favorite episodes we ever did. I don't know if anyone else will enjoy it, but like, these tangents are the best, man. These are my
I'm not
favorite
going to
things.
listen to it because it's a day late.
That's true. So we can just talk about whatever we want. Okay, where are we? What do we got next? We're almost done. Lewis, you've said so little on this episode.
Come on now.
But this is it. You get the best story of the week right here.
This is your favorite, huh? The headline is the most bananas iPhone case ever. It really should be the most banana iPhone case ever.
Look at that case. Look
Oh
at
my
that
God.
beauty.
This is the new Andy Warhol. How do you pronounce it when it's an X? By Casetify collection.
Okay.
Anyway, Casetify has a Andy Warhol collection. They've got this ridiculously large banana-shaped iPhone case. Looks like the cover of a Velvet Underground. If you remember that image.
I
that
don't,
album.
but
It's classic image. Classic image.
look at the back of the case. We got to describe this for people.
The back really. So the case itself, they didn't have the dimensions in the thing, but it's got to be like, I don't know, 10 inches. How big would you say that is? The edges, it's at least twice as big as the iPhone. It's at least twice as tall as the iPhone.
I'll make sure this is the chapter artwork for those of you listening, if your podcast supports chapter artwork. But like, if you can't look at it for whatever reason, look at the back of your phone and look how big the camera bump is. And then look at this image and you'll see that like this is a case that turns your iPhone into a banana shape that looks like it's twice as tall as the phone itself in like a large, eclipse shape, shaped like a banana, except it's like way larger than an actual banana. It's huge.
Bright,
Because
giant yellow.
It has to fit your giant rectangular phone in the middle of that large curved shape.
Well, it looks
It is
protected
crazy.
actually, because all the material on the top and the bottom of the banana.
It would your phone, if your phone is in that, it would gently float to the ground. The thing almost would probably like flap like wings.
I love the back. You just basically snap your phone into this huge, ridiculous banana shape.
It's just crazy. So let's see. They also have like AirPods cases and more
right.
traditional iPhone shape cases based on Andy
like a can
Warhol's
of
art.
soup.
Yeah, the classic, Campbell's soup can kind of thing.
Dude, I have to admit,
Brillo box.
I do not get why people think that this is interesting artwork. Like it's a Campbell soup can, Oh, I don't understand what's so avant-garde about this.
Well, when did it come out? In the 60s? I mean, it was interesting. And obviously it's I mean, culturally relevant, had a big impact because we all still know it, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least I do.
I do too. I just never understood why we all still know it.
Yeah, well, it's just weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just weird art, and Warhol was a strange dude. A lot of weird things, like the tomato soup can AirPods case. Come on, that's tempting. But the thing is, all these things are really expensive too. Like that banana-shaped iPhone case, $106. You could buy a bundle that has everything. I mean, they've got Mac covers and iPad cases and all kinds of
Oh
stuff.
my gosh,
Like
the entire
$700
set.
Yeah.
Down from $728. $672. At least they give you free shipping.
Yeah.
How generous.
It's something else. All kinds of permutations on the tomato soup can and the banana and the Brillo pad box. The if you look at those things, you'll recognize them. I suspect. Anyway, it's just goofy. Just
Truly baffling, man.
That is the. I think that may be one of the Well, it's definitely one of the craziest iPhone cases I've ever seen.
I think you might be right. And who would ever carry such a thing? I don't know. Is this whole thing just to be like collector's items? Probably would be my guess. The Andy Warhol estate was like,
I
we
think
got to
even
keep that money coming in.
collector's bundles and things. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Pretty
Well, you can
nutty.
say
though.
not bananas about the price. You know what I'm saying, Liz?
Yeah. Not much appeal to a $106 iPhone case.
Once again, you've outdone yourself, and with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I was trying to come up with another Warhol pun, but...
There's some ripe jokes there.
Ah! Hello! Yeah.
I think
I've
you can
got
buy them all
nothing.
in a bundle.
I'm drawing a blank, but those are all just making me want to end the show even quicker. That's been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute app conversation you're going to hear all week long. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you guys Next time. I'm still thinking. I can't. That's enough. I don't even know what Brillo is.
What?
No, I don't know.
You don't know what a Brillo pad is?
Oh, is that what it is? Is that like
those,
the
like-
steel
the
wool with soap in it?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I haven't seen one of those in like 30 years.
What if they still make them?
I guarantee you they still do.
Oh yeah, the original soap pad.
There you go. Well, my friends, I think we're going to go ahead and slide right out of here. Banana peel joke. Kind of. Nah, it doesn't work. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys next time. Bye, y'all.